So let's talk about problems of the week. So this is our first time doing this. I want to explain how these are going to work. So first off, where do we find the problems of the week? Right here. I'm on the main first page in our Canvas course shell. Right down here, it's the third thing from the top, right? Instructor help, syllabus, and boom, problems of the week. You click on that, it opens up, and there they are. There's the problems of the week, all 10 of them. You only have to do 5 of them. You can read these instructions. You can download right up here if you want to click on the download. You can download this document if you want to keep it separate for yourself to look at or print it out or whatever. If you read the fine print here, you only have to do 5 of them this semester. In fact, let me get it up a place where I can highlight it easy. There we go. So yeah, you only have to do 5 of them in any order that you would like by the end of the semester. So these are due, there's 10 of them, but you're not going to do all 10. You're only going to do whichever 5 you feel like doing. Read them all over, decide the ones you want to do. Do them one at a time. They're pretty tough. They're the kind of problem you're going to have to spend a lot of time. It's not like homework. You have to spend a lot of time thinking and working and talking to people and getting ideas. Feel free to use the internet, use friends, use every resource in the world you possibly can. That's fine. You might find answers. You might get them from friends, but in the end, you do have to explain it to me. So I'm still happy with that because you're still learning a lot, which is what I care about in the end. So however you get the answers is great. In the end, make sure you understand it. And it must be explained fully in writing. And my standard for that, it must be clear enough that a fellow student could read it and understand exactly how you solve the problem and why your solution is the correct one. Please explain step by step how you worked on the problem and what discoveries led you to each new step. Even if that means I was on the internet and I saw this, or I talked to my friend and they told me this, that's great. Just then explain to me why that thing you found on the internet or with a friend or just came up with yourself is correct. Explain to me why it's true. So that's my standard. I just want you to come to see what is true and explain to me why it's true. So that's the deal on these. So let's I think it'll make more sense when we look at one. Let's look at this very first one right here. Here's the proof is simple. Now you can do any one. You don't have to do number 1, but let's just pretend you're working on this one. The proof is in that, well, here, actually, let me show you first. Suppose you're working on, like, I don't know, number 4, this diagonals one, right? Suppose you read through them all and you're like, I don't know, I'm going to do the diagonals ones. You read it and you go, okay, a polygon with 4 sides has 2 diagonals. A polygon with 5 sides has 5 diagonals. How many diagonals a polygon with 25 sides? And I'm giving you a hint. Carefully count the diagonals on a 6-sided polygon, a 7-sided, 8-sided, etc. Is there a pattern? Math is all about patterns. And so really you should do the pattern. You don't want to try to draw a 25-sided polygon. That would be crazy hard. It's going to have hundreds of diagonals. You're not going to be able to do it straight ahead. Instead, you're going to have to do this one by a pattern. You know what I mean? You're going to have to do some kind of pattern thing with this one. Anyway, these are hard. All these are hard. So if, say you work on number 4, and you end up getting an answer. Well, how do you submit it? Where do you go to submit it? Let me show you. You go to our Canvas course site. Here's our course again. This is just where you read about all 10 problems of the week are here for you to read about, but that's not where you turn them in. Let me go back to the home page. So if you're on the home page, this is where you read about them, but where you turn them is under assignments. So if I click on assignments, then, and I go down, there's the lecture homework and stuff. You roll on down. Oh, there they are. They're right after the lecture homework. Problem of the week number 1, 2, 3. So you're only doing 5. You see, they all say their due date is the end of the semester. You just have to have them correct by the end of the semester. That's when they're officially due. So they all say December 13th. So say you worked on number 5, or number 4, I mean, the diagonals. Click on that one and submit it. Does that make sense? So if you worked on problem of the week number 4 diagonals, you want to click on that one. Don't click on number 1 if that's not the one you worked on. Please save me some administrative headaches. Last semester, students were confused, and when they worked on a problem, they just put it under number 1 right away. So I'm hoping that mistake doesn't happen. I had to move everything around, took a lot of my time, and And so do just the one you're working. Remember, you're not going to do all 10 of these. You're only going to do 5 of them throughout the semester. So if you started with number 4, that's fine. You can do them. You can start with number 10 if you want. It doesn't matter. So if you worked on number 4 and you've got a good answer, click on problem of the week number 4. I'm on the assignments. It says, oh, submit the assignment. So what you have to do is, so I'm assuming most of you will probably do your work on your normal paper with your pen and your paper, and you do your work and then just scan it in with your phone. You know, use a scanner. Genius Scan is really nice, or whatever program you want on your phone. Just scan the pages, if it's more than one page, the pages into your phone, and then put it on your computer, and then come in here to assignments, click on problem of the week number 4, if that's the one you did, diagonals, click submit assignment, come down here and it says, oh, choose the file. You just choose the file, you can upload the file and then submit it. And then I'll come after Sunday and I'll read everybody's files and grade them and give you some feedback. Does that make sense? Now, if you want to do it on a Word document, that's fine too. And then you can just upload that. It doesn't matter, but most people end up wanting to do it on regular paper, and they just do it that way. Questions so far on how to submit assignments? The problems of the week? All right, so this is all under, again, it's under assignments. Down here, you'll find the problems of the week. Just click on the one you're doing. Now, back to the actual question itself. Like, how do we solve these crazy things? So getting back to, let's read number 1. In fact, let me just give a bunch of space to us here and, excuse me, make this one a little bigger for us. I'm just going to show you an example of one of these problems. Yeah, let me make it bigger so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. All right, yeah, suppose you're working on problem number 1 here. You're like, all right, I'm going to read. The host at a party turned to the guest and said, I have 3 daughters, and I will tell you how old they are. So 3 daughters. The product of their ages is 72. The sum of their ages is my house number. How old is each? The guest rushed to the door, looked at the house number, but they're not telling us the house number, are they? And informed the host that he needed more information. Why? Was seeing the house number not enough information for him to finish the problem? What does this mean? Giving you a hint there. The host then added, the oldest likes strawberry pudding. The guest then announced the ages of the 3 girls. What are the ages of the 3 daughters? That's a tricky question, isn't it? Notice how these are not straight ahead. They're more advanced questions. How would you begin this question? Well, first off, let's go back up here. 3 daughters and the product. Now, do you know what product means? If you don't, go on the internet, type it in. Product means product. Here, let me make this a little bigger. Product is multiplication. So the 3 ages, 3 ages multiply to equal 72. That's what they're saying. The product of their ages is 72. The 3 ages multiply to equal 72. The sum, they add up, the ages add up to equal the house number. Of course, I'll put a question mark. We don't know the house number. We don't know what that is. All right, so the 3 ages multiply to be 72. Well, what am I going to do with that? I don't know. Take your calculator out and try playing around with numbers. You'll find that 6 times 6, well, 6 times 3 times 4 is 72. And 12 times 3 times 2 is 72. And 1 times 72 is 72. So the daughters might be 6 years old, 3 years old, and 4 years old. They might be 12, 3, and 2. They might be 1, 1, and 72. You think? Probably not, right? Etc. So you gotta, there's a lot of these. You gotta write down a bunch of possibilities. 9 times 2 times 4 is 70, etc. You gotta start writing down a whole bunch of possibilities, and then you gotta start thinking and thinking and thinking. So these are really difficult questions. They're going to take some time. I promise you, there is a logical reason for everything. You know, something like this one right here. The oldest likes strawberry pudding. Some of my students in the past have said things like this. They'll count the letters in strawberry and go, oh, there's, I don't know what it is, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10. So one of the daughters must be 10. No, I promise you, that would not be logic, right? Why does the number of letters in the word have to be the number? That's craziness, right? I promise you, it's not a dumb trick. There's no dumb tricks on these. There's reasons. Once you've solved them, you'll see. You'll be like, oh yeah, I see, that has to be. Every one of these problems has to be what it is. I promise. But they're difficult. So it's not obvious at first. So how do you turn this thing in when you're done? When you're all done, you must solve it and write the explanation so that another student could follow your explanation. That's my standard. I'm not an English teacher. I don't require you to use a bunch of words. You might have a really good picture and 3 words on your paper and scan that in, and I look at it and I'm like, yep, that's great. My standard is it clear? My standard is it clear? Is it clear for another student? I don't care. So you might need several paragraphs. Like I said, you might just need a good picture and 3 words. It just sort of depends on the problem. But my standard will be, if I handed this to somebody else, could they see how you solved it? Now, what happens if you turn it in and it's the wrong answer or it's right answer with a bad explanation? If it is turned in wrong or not clear explanation, I will give it back and you can turn it in again later. Once it is correct, once it is right with a clear explanation, full credit by the end of the semester. So you have till the end of the semester to get these things right. Once you get it right with a clear explanation, even if it took you 10 times of turning it in and I'm giving it back and turn it in and I give it back, once you get it right, you must have five correct by the end of the semester. Having said that, don't wait to the end. I always have a few students, a chunk of students, who wait to the last week to turn in like 2 or 3 of them that they couldn't get, and they turn it in at the very end and they're wrong. Because usually you're going to get these things wrong the first time, about half the time. And they're wrong and there's no second chance at that point. And they lose the point and it can affect you almost a full grade. I've had many a sad student who waited too long and it was their own fault, because I would have told them earlier on, oh, I would tell you it's wrong. I give you a hint, help you out. I'm glad to work on these with you during office hours, but they waited too long and they waited to the last week, turned them in, and then they begged me, Mr. give it right back to me. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be able to rush at the last week. I'm grading finals and doing nice stuff too. I warned them, this is last turn in. So don't wait to the end, because then you're really gambling, and most of the time they get them wrong. And there's no second chance at that point. So you just have to have 5 right by the end of the semester. Does that make sense? Questions I can answer on the problems of the week? Feel free to help each other out. It's not cheating, internet, friends, whatever, but you have to understand it with a clear explanation by the end.